Protagonists need to suffer. Now, upon hearing this, one might think it's a cruel and unusual sentiment to say, but it is essentially a fact. We all love an underdog. We all crave our favorite characters to push through adversity and come out victorious. But from a writing perspective, why is this? Why, as a human being, do we enjoy our favorite comfort characters being put through the ringer, being beaten down and pushed to their limits? Is there something demented within all of us that enjoys this phenomena? I mean, I can't speak for you, but I think I'm all Gucci in my cranium personally, and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with me.
Not really.
I want you to think of 5 superheroes in your mind and think of their backstories and how that changed them and what prompted them to take up heroism. Spider-Man, you have Uncle Ben's death. Bruce Wayne, you have the murder of his parents. I mean, Hulk's entire backstory is just... But these tragedies indeed serve a purpose. For the sake of this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 reasons why the protagonists need to suffer in our stories and why we enjoy it. Before we get too deep into this video, guys, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. We are on our way to 20,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you as a part of the community. Please make sure you join the link down in the description for the Discord. We'll be chilling in there, hanging out. We got fan art, hot take discussions, all this kind of stuff in there. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's jump on in. Also, like goal for this video. Let's say 500. Number 1, suffering builds emotional investment. Whenever our main character goes through some sort of trial and tribulation, it's the fastest way for the audience to connect with the main character. Playing on our empathy as human beings is crucial for writers. It's like those commercials you used to see with all those animals that had some sort of disability with that song, "In the Arms of an Angel," in the background. That you know the one I'm talking about. Empathy is one of the easiest ways to get someone to care about what you're trying to say. If someone you know or even don't know tells you about something unfortunate that happened to them, what is your default response? I'm sorry. We teach our children at a very young age to feel empathy and be considerate of others. It's ingrained in most people's brains to give a damn about somebody else. Now, this isn't to say that we need to gratuitously torture or maim our main characters to feel something for them, but it is an effort for us to be able to relate to them further. Some authors even have their characters and superheroes have disabilities to add inclusivity and representation to their cast. Daredevil being blind, Hawkeye being hard of hearing, and Jubilee having dyscalculia, which is a condition that makes doing math in your head nearly impossible, affecting things such as judging distance, size, and weight. The list goes on, and this is not to say that those who have disabilities are necessarily suffering, but some people are very vocal in seeing heroes with their same afflictions doing fantastic and amazing things. These things further help build emotional investment. Matthew Murdock being permanently blinded as a child by choosing to help an old man that was about to get hit by a speeding truck, and in a Netflix show, seeing him actually lose his vision progressively and say, I can't see. It tugs at your heartstrings, as it should. Going into anime and manga, look at Shigaraki's history. Shigaraki suffered abuse from his father, and upon his quirk manifesting, accidentally killed his entire family and pet, albeit with the exception of his father, who he murdered in cold blood. Now, I will say prior to this, I wasn't particularly fond of Shigaraki as a villain. I thought he was just a bit edgy and a bit dry. But after the reveal of the tragedy that surrounded his family, I had a substantially higher emotional investment in his character. Shigaraki went from a low-tier villain who was an edgy nerd to a tragic young man that had his childhood robbed and immense psychological damage that could not be repaired, as well as a victim of Hero Society's failures from both a systemic and personal level. I know this video is primarily about protagonists and their struggles, but I did want to include at least one villain for the sake of this discussion. But it's not just enough for us to care, we want to see change, and that brings us to the second reason. Number 2, suffering sparks growth. The term character development is defined by greenlight coverage as the process through which characters change and evolve over a story. It involves detailing their personality, backstory, desires, and growth. This growth can be emotional, psychological, or moral, contributing depth and relatability to the narrative. Character development can be good or bad just depending on the type of story you're trying to tell. For instance, Franklin Sate from Snowfall, one of my favorite shows of all time by the way, and his development into nothing short of a monster is absolutely fascinating to look at. Over the course of the show, we see Franklin slowly begin to lose his humanity, but it is still extremely entertaining for us as the audience, and we still cheer him on regardless of the evil deeds he commits. I mean, we literally see him poison his own own neighborhood and community with crack cocaine and make his own drug empire, but throughout the show, we still root for it. Major spoilers for Snowfall in this next section, but I was actually distraught that Franklin began to receive his comeuppance at the end of the series. This drug dealer who killed one of his childhood friends, put hands on the mother of his child, ruined countless lives with one of the most addictive drugs known to man, was robbed of $72 million, nobody to run to, and is now a homeless alcoholic living on the streets of Los Angeles. Franklin at the beginning of the show said that he wanted to own his own money and his own empire. He wanted to be free of it all. And one of his final lines on the show, when he is left with absolutely nothing, he repeats once again that he is free of it all. While Franklin did suffer heavy losses in his life in the 5th and 6th season of the show, it was primarily about his rise of infamy. It makes all the more devastating when it is ripped away from him and we see him at the lowest he has ever been and most likely ever will. In a traditional story, the FBI and the CIA would be the good guys, with Teddy being the hero he always imagined he was, but here our hero is humbled, robbed, and finally on the receiving end of all the pain and suffering he has caused others. This is character development in a negative fashion, but in a more traditional and positive story, suffering isn't brought upon the protagonist due to their own actions, harming others knowingly. As an example, Yuji in Jujutsu Kaisen was revolted at the sight of when Sukuna was in control of his body and used his domain expansion on Mahoraga, and thousands of innocent civilians were killed in Shibuya. This, coupled with Nobara and Nanami's deaths back-to-back minutes within each other, pushed Yuji to his breaking point. He gave up. He yearned for death. Yuji told himself that he was a murderer and that to compensate for this, he eventually arrived at the conclusion that he needed to save more people than he killed. Now granted, this is with the help of Aoi Todo, but he eventually rose back up. Chastising himself for wanting to take the easy way out and not wanting to face his despair head on, we see throughout the story from then on as this heavily weighs on Yuji, but he still vows to do better. And interestingly enough, with Sukuna being the catalyst for this immense emotional toll on Yuji, he still at the end of this story chooses to show Sukuna mercy. As Sukuna was exorcised from Megami's body, Yuji stares over Sukuna's small, hideous, one-eyed form, and throughout all of the pain and misery that Sukuna has caused in an effort to satiate his own boredom, Yuji holds Sukuna in the palm of his hands, and he says, "We were born with the burden of a curse, and the monster you became was up to luck. But I had my grandfather. Sukuna, let's do it again. Not to curse someone, but to live with someone. Even if no one accepts it, I'm willing to go on living with you." Yuji's empathy is one of the biggest strengths of his character. When he launches his domain expansion and he shows Sukuna all of these cherished memories from his childhood, he is desperately trying to appeal to whatever humanity Sukuna may have left in his soul. While yes, Sukuna does end up rejecting the kindness that Yuji offers him and they continue their bloody brawl, at the end of his life, we see that Sukuna was actually moved by what Yuji said. He still has his pride, don't get me wrong, but he considers the fact that he ultimately lost the fight in Shinjuku to mean that on a fundamental level, his line of thinking to that point had been incorrect. Possibly, of course, possibly. Again, Yuji's empathy and cog mentality are some of the biggest strengths of his character, and they bleed through in every interaction that he has with Sukuna. It's the reason why Sukuna is absolutely livid when he comes to the understanding that Yuji actually pities him, and actually Yuji goes and outright to threaten him and give him an ultimatum. Our protagonists must go through these trials and tribulations to either become the best versions of themselves or the worst, depending on the type of story being told. Thorfinn from Vinland Saga is another fantastic example of this, as throughout his life he has gone through extremely traumatizing events over and over from a very early age. Seeing his father get killed in front of his eyes and being forced to be a hyper-violent beast for the man who changed his life forever, then inadvertently forming a trauma bond with this same man and having all purpose lost when this man was killed in front of him once again. The weight of all the lives that Thorfinn has taken weighs on him incredibly hard every day and night, as is shown he has severe PTSD. Thorfinn eventually has an extremely poignant and disturbing dream in which he imagines what Valhalla to be and confesses that he has no urge to go there. He apologizes to all the people that he has killed and says that he swears off violence forever and that he must live. Now, as we the audience know, this is impractical, and Vinland Saga masterfully challenges Thorfinn directly on this idea in just a few chapters. He must fight Snake in an effort to defend somebody else, someone that he doesn't even really know. I mean, look at Thorfinn's transformation from when he fought Thorkel for the first time to then taking those 100 punches from Drat. He has grown so much. He looks like a totally different character. The way he speaks, the confidence that he emanates. Oh man! Vinland Saga Season 3 isn't coming to like 2027, by the way. I mean, it feels like a lifetime away. Also, by the way, time isn't real, because what the hell do you mean? Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 trailer came out 2 years ago. My knees and my back are so brittle, please pray for me, y'all. Thorfinn has had one of the strongest character developments in recent memory for me personally, and if any of you say some silly shit like Sun Jun-woo from Solo Leveling has better character development, I'm gonna crawl through your attic window and fight you. But while growth is great, sure, it doesn't matter without something on the line, and that's where stakes come in. Number 3, suffering raises the stakes. Raising the stakes and giving the audience a heightened sense of paranoia and danger is integral to having legitimate threats in your stories. Again, if a story has no fear of consequence, there is nothing that can be gleaned from it. Yes, even in slice of life stories, there may be something for our main cast to get around. While something like Spy Family tends to have more hilarious hijinks and less of a more serialized format, there's still the idea that Yor, Lloyd, and Anya need to protect their respective identities. In Clannad After Story, Tamoya loses his wife during childbirth and sinks into deep grief and severe depression, becoming a neglectful father in the process. This is a gut punch to the viewer, as we can all relate on some level having a loved one so close to you pass away and feeling like a shell of yourself for a certain time after. In Fruits Basket, nearly every member of the Soma family deals with some sort of neglect, abuse, or emotional repression. The show contrasts light tone with heavy emotional baggage, and the show deals with healing and connection through facing grief head on. Now, this is not an anime, but the K-drama The Glory deals with a young woman getting revenge on her childhood bullies who maimed and tortured her by ruining their lives. And while the show is far from action-packed, the emotional stakes are high because we, the viewer, want to see Dong-yoon get her get back. By the way, if my child ever comes home with burn marks, I can give a fuck less about what your social status you supposedly have. I'm gonna knock your teeth out of your jaw. Stakes can be external in nature, such as the threat of an alien invasion, or even something as small as being an absent parent unknowingly. Pain drives the story. Without it, there's no reason to grow, no reason to fight, and honestly, no reason to care. We turn to medicine, religion, and storytelling for the same reason, to remind ourselves that suffering isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the proof that we're alive and that something better might still be waiting on the other side. And that'll do it for this video, y'all. Please let me know what you guys think of this video. Please make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, it's me, your boy Daffy, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all make sure you take care of yourselves, guys, and have a damn good one. Peace.